Hey, this is JC and welcome to Small Brick City, where we want to help you build a Lego city regardless of the space you have. Welcome to the fifth and final part of building a MOC from start to finish, and the project is the 2019 Townhouse Pet Shop and Cafe. That's the build you see in front of you right here, and what I did was to ReMOC it into a half modular style building. That means it's built on a 16 by 32 stud base plate, and this is a corner build. So this side is to be set against other buildings, and this side is meant to face the road or some kind of common walkway. Since our last video, I have made some changes offline. These are just minor changes to facilitate this video. One of the things I did was to actually remove one of these windows and revert it back to just two windows. As you can see on top, I added an extra window here to make it, this is I believe is 8 studs long. But I've reverted it to 6 studs long here, and the reason is I need the space to be a toilet for the inside of this townhouse. If not, it'll be a bit strange because the window would partially be in front of the wall. So you'd see the vertical edge of the wall which divides the toilet and the rest of the room, which wasn't really sightly. So I have reverted this back. And again, I wanted to use the bricks from the original build as far as I can. That's why you see these medium orange masonry bricks here. And I changed out these masonry bricks and just kept all these blue. Now, while my goal was originally to use as much of the parts as possible, I did stick to that plan, but I had to use quite a few plates, especially just to make sure the colors worked out. But by far, in terms of the bricks, I did use the original bricks from the set and only used a couple of spare bricks. So I basically used more plates than bricks from my own collection. So what we're going to do today in this final part of the video is to detail the interior as well as the exterior over here. So we're going to start off with the interior, and I'll go floor by floor and finally end up on the outside. So I hope you're ready. Let's get started. This is the top view of the first floor, and this side over here is the Pet Cafe. Originally it was the pet shop of the original set, and this side will be my townhouse, and this was, I believe, the cafe in the original set. The access is by way of the ladders, and that's access to the second floor. And the way I divided the size was to have the townhouse bigger because it's only 2 stories high. The Pet Cafe is 3 stories high, so I gave it a smaller footprint. So let's start work on the townhouse first. I have a collection of small builds that I'll use to populate the interior of this building. Most of these sets came from the original build, so 80% of the builds that we used inside came from the original sets. I should mention that I have 2 sets to comprise this build. We had 2 sets that were mirror built, meaning one set was built and the other is a mirror image of the other. But here's a tip: if you do want to build a complete building half modular style as I've done, I think you just need 1 set of the original set, as long as you have extra parts of certain colors such as these medium orange masonry bricks as well as this deeper dark orange. You do not need the blue. You might need some windows, and you might need an extra panel or 2, that's these glass panels, and you need a collection of various bricks, especially in white, and plates in white as well. But you do not need to buy 2 sets in order to build this. It does make it a bit easier because you do not need to source for parts, and you've got some parts already built if you do the mirror build as I did. But if you really want to save money, you just need 1 set in order to build this, but you will need some extra bricks. Alright, let's start off with the interior first. This is the first floor, and I've decided for the first floor, it's going to hold the toilet and the shower as well as the kitchen and kind of the dining area. And on the second floor, it basically is just the bedroom, and that's purely because of the space we have. The bedroom has a balcony, so it does cut down on a bit of space, and there's also that little hole for the ladder for access to go up to the second floor. So the second floor has much less usable space than the first floor. So anytime I survey a new room and when I want to figure out where the toilet is, I will try to put it in a corner. So the most logical way in this case to put the toilet would be this corner. I generally try to put it in the back corner. You can't put it obviously in front because this is where the main door is. You can't, well, you can put it here, but this is all windows. You do not want to use that up for the toilet. So I would normally put it towards the back here. But because this is the ladder and the access point, you can't put it here, so the toilet has to end up here. And that's why I mentioned I did this change offline, so that the toilet can be all enclosed in this little corner over here. And I've pre-built the walls for the toilet. So this is what I've pre-built. I've even got some bricks in place for various decorations and utilities. And there's this door, and this will fit right here. Subsequently, I'll build up and lock it in place with plates and towels as well. So I have to remove these towels and plates to take it off. And I will need to raise it up by putting black plates. And that's to put it here. But let's see what I can use to cover this area first. What I have over here is the shower head, which will come here. And over here, actually, I'm reusing these lights that came with the original build. And I'm using them as lights over the kitchen area, which I'll insert in just a bit. So what's the size I usually go for toilets? I try to maximize the space. So as you can see, the space for a shower, but I've also got a toilet here, which I've pre-built. And if you want to learn how to build toilets, you can follow the link in the card above or the description below. So the toilet will go in that corner, this comes here, and there's space to shower as well. So in terms of space, 4 studs wide by 5 studs deep is, in my opinion, more than enough space for a small apartment. You can even go 3 studs if you really have to, and 4 studs, but that's really tight. So this is actually quite comfortable, and there's still enough space, of course, to open up the door completely. There's enough space for minifigs to access the ladder to get up to the 2nd floor. So that's how I work out the footprint. So what I need to do now is to add in the plate, which will mark out this toilet, but it's also to raise it up the same level as these bricks here, because there's a black plate underneath. Then I will also want to towel the inside before I even set the wall in place, and before I lock it in place with the plates and the towels. So let's do that now. So here we have the toilet laid out. You can see the black towel, that's for the wall and the door. We've got tiling and even drainage for the shower area, and that's the toilet. So now I can put this in place, and I can remove these towels and plates, and I'm going to lock this in with the plates and the towels. And here we have everything toweled in and very secure, so that works out pretty well. So what I'm going to do now is to add in this. So this is the kitchenette that came with the origin build. It's actually quite nice, so I think we do not need to change it anyway. I just need to position it here. As you can see, it's just the right size, and it makes sense since the sink is there. It's where all the plumbing would be, in this wall, so that makes sense. I also have a small table and a chair, which I have over here. This came from the original set, but I did make it a 2x2 tile instead of by a 2x4 tile, which is what they gave. And I also changed the color of the chair, and this I thought of just putting in this corner over here. So this townhouse obviously is just big enough for one person, maybe a bachelor. I have no idea who's going to be inside just yet, but this is the layout. So nothing fancy, but with all the utilities we need for a house. I also want to change this, because this was obviously a coffee mug for the original cafe. So I'm going to take that out, and I thought of a different kind of ornament. No idea what it's supposed to mean, but I think it fits better. Everything is gold, so maybe there's a reason. And just going with this color scheme, I am going to towel this gold and white for the interior. Maybe just a bit of a gold trim, or I might do a checker pattern. I think I'll decide as I start. Let's try a checker pattern and just see how that looks like. And here we have all nicely toweled. I think that looks pretty luxurious, and I think if this is going to be in my metro city area, it will fit, you know, having an upscale type of a townhouse in. It's so upscale they couldn't afford stairs, but obviously the reason why there are no stairs is because of space. and not because they couldn't afford to. Alright, so now let's move on to this side over here. This is going to be the pet cafe, as I mentioned. So one thing that I know I want inside, that's going to be this aquarium over here. So this came with the original set. In fact, I believe this is also very similar to the aquarium that's built for the pet shop, the expert modular building. So let's put this in. I'll put in some chairs and stools, and we'll tile up the area as well. I'm deciding to just go with gray. This is going to be a place of business, so very simply tiling, very simple tiling, doesn't have to be too luxurious. Maybe I'll make it yellow and gray just to make it a bit more colorful. So this is what I've got for the ground floor of the pet cafe. This is really a seating area for dogs and cats and I guess four-legged animals and their owners. Now you're probably wondering, if it's a cafe, where's the kitchen portion? That's going to be on the second floor, because I figured it would be tough for owners to carry their pets up with the ladder, so they could hang out with their pets here, and if they wanted they could climb up to make an order. So the kitchen is going to be on the second floor, and the third floor is going to be where the birds are, so it makes sense that those animals don't mix. This is a little bin. I'm going to put these two balls in later on. This actually came with the original set, although it's much longer. It was on the outside, but I'm going to keep it on the inside, and I've got the fish tank over here. I did put in this modified brick, as you can see, and the reason is I wanted to put a light, and this light came with the original set as well, and I think it'll look quite good hanging over here, and maybe cats can jump on it as well. So I'll put everything back in a bit, but why don't I just work a bit on the front as well at the same time, simply because I think that there will be some connection. See, what I wanted to do was to create a nice little entranceway using orange and yellow. Now the reason I chose orange and yellow is because it matches this front awning. So I thought, just to keep with that color scheme, it'll be very inviting, very bright and cheery to have this kind of tiling in front. So I'm going to do that tiling first. So I've got it done, and as a guide I should just maybe put some tiles. This is just temporary, but the idea is that this is going to be the sidewalk. So what I need is tiles here in gray, because this will be the main sidewalk, so to speak. And I'm just following the normal expert modular buildings in terms of the color scheme. This matches the rest of my city as well, and I probably can put another one here. I think maybe this can be a jumper plate so that I can put in a minifig. Let me just put this one here. Now the reason I'm doing this now is I'm thinking how I want this area to look like, because this can be some outdoor seating, and this came with the original set as well. So this could be here, and we could have this two chairs here, so something like that. I will need to put a plate underneath, but just to get an idea of how it looks, it might look something like this. And maybe I want to define this area to be light gray, so this can be a jumper plate. But what I'm going to do here is to retile this just so that there's some kind of pattern to demarcate that this area still belongs to the pet cafe. So this is what I've come up with. This, I feel, defines the area more, that this is basically the property of the pet cafe. So it just gives a bit of dimension, and I can put this back, and then we can move to the second floor. Here's the second floor. Let's continue with the pet shop first. Well, the first thing I want to do is add some kind of a safety railing. So that will go somewhere here. Not sure if it needs to be extended. It depends on what else we put inside. I do want to put in this kitchenette. Now this is actually a mirror build of the previous one you saw, and I'm just going to reuse it since I had two sets. No point wasting it. So that will go inside here as well. I will need another little counter or something over here. I think I'll put a cash register, and that's maybe it. Maybe we can put in a menu. This menu came with the original build for the outside, and maybe that goes here, so I do not need any other barrier. I think that works out pretty well. Not much space to put anything else, so let me just build this up and then I'll do the tiling. And because this is the kitchen area, I'm just going to keep everything in gray. Here's what I've built for the side over here. There's a 2x2 space, so I did want to actually replicate this type of drawer over here. So I need to raise this up. So what you're going to get is a uniform look. And I think that works pretty well. This is a cash register. Money is very close to the stove, but it's an electric stove, so I think we'll be okay. So this will go in here, and let's just put everything in and tile it up. And here we have the kitchen service, so customers can come up here, order their food or drink, and either go back down or go up to the second floor or the third floor of the pet cafe. Now let's head to the second floor of the townhouse. Once again, I will need some kind of a barrier, safety barrier over here. I think it should be this side. And once again, I'm going to recycle all the different builds that I used previously. For example, this bed came from the original build, and that makes sense to be placed over here. I've got this nice TV console that should be opposite the bed. And finally, we've got this little nightstand which I can place somewhere here, just enough so that the door can open. So that works. What I need to do is tile up the area, and I think that's pretty straightforward. This is the look at the top floor, which also serves as the roof for the townhouse. Didn't do much changes. I really just took the main roof, shortened it by a bit, and then I basically incorporated this third floor with the same level. The roof, I did have to customize a bit, and I extended this particular design, kept the solar panel, and on the inside over here you can see there's access once again from the ladder up to this floor. So this is going to be my bird cafe, or the bird sanctuary part of the cafe. So once again, I'm just going to put that's going to be the railing, and I'm going to take a table. This is the same table as the first floor, and it comes from the original set once again. So that will be placed there, and we need a whole bunch of birds. So I've got birds here. They're going to be on pedestals. I'm going to put them somewhere there when I tile it. I've also got 2 owls, so I'll place them there as well. I do want to put in a light. I thought, again, this light came from the original build, but I changed the bar to a tap element, and that can be just here, so that when you climb up you do get to see where you're going to. So basically that's it. Nothing for the outside. I think a minifix can just stand there. I don't think I'll tile it, but I'll see it as I tile the inside, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm just looking at the placement here. I didn't like the bird here. It's just too cramped up. That jumper plate can be for minifix. Maybe that can just be 3 birds then. I won't try to fit in this last one because it's just be too cramped. So I think let's just have 3. That's perfectly fine. Let's put the light back here. So we've got the 2 owls a distance away from each other. That does make sense. And then you have 1 macaw over here. And if you want, you can go out and stand on the balcony for a drink as well. I think this is good. I don't think I'll put a table here. This is just kind of a chill out area. I won't tile it again. I'll just leave it bare. So I think this is good. That's pretty straightforward. Let's put everything back together because we still have to detail the rest of the outside. Finally, we come to the outside. of this entire building. As you can see, lots of exposed studs. We need to fill it up and add more detail. Trust me, we are going to make this look good. Now this was temporary, so let's take this out. This I kind of know what's going to be. This stud is for a minifig. I do have some trees that I want to put in because this came from the original set. I think they look great, and I think we can easily add them in maybe somewhere here like that, and this one can go maybe here. I won't put them tight yet because it depends on the tiles that I put in. So I just want, well, I can do that right now. I'll put in the tiles here, and I can figure out where I want this to be because I just want it to be at the right space. And I think, yeah, that seems just right. I also have something I want to put. There's this little dog, looks like Brian from Family Guy, but I think while Lego wanted this to be a real dog or represent the real dog, to me this is more like a 3D sign. So I think it'll be quite cool to put it somewhere, maybe just here, because there's just so much 3D signs for this particular build. It's just so colorful. I think we can just put it here. Maybe I can get a jumper plate, and it can be shielded by the tree, and we can put it at an angle or something like that. I think that works. And this then allows me to continue tiling this area, and that's pretty nice. Now I do have a lamp post which I think will go here, just like a lot of the standard modular buildings, and this is a corner build, so I'm going to put some plates here. I'm using a light gray and a dark gray, and that's simply to match the curves that I'm going to put so that you don't see a disparity in the color. And I think now I can add this back, and let's assume I'm going to put a grill here, like a drain, so I'll need a 6 over here. Yep, I can put a drain here, and what I'm just going to tile the whole area. But let's come over here. Probably I can do some light gray tile all the way to the curb, since this is the entranceway, and then this can be dark gray. All right, let's finish up this tiling and we'll see how everything looks. And there we have it. Looks like we've got everything nice and finished. Now let's widen the camera shot and let's have a look at the entire build. And here's the completed build of the new pet cafe and townhouse. Oh, there's one more thing I do need to do. See, there's this little piece over here. This was in the original build. It held the traffic light. Doesn't make sense in this context. However, it also came with this brick-built bird, and I thought this would be perfect to add on as another 3D sign. So it's just so colorful. There's the bird, there's the coffee cup, there are these images of the bird and a dog. There's a 3D dog here. Overall, I think it's just so fun and colorful. It really works, and now we've got all the details on the inside done as well. And on this side we have the townhouse, a bit of greenery on the side, which is always very nice. This door, I guess, should be changed. It shouldn't be transparent. After all, if it is a house, I'm going to change this to a solid colored door. This is fine, and I'll have to fill in a window here, and you just have to pretend that, don't worry about this. Basically, the reason I use the windows, as I've mentioned before, is just to save on bricks, and if it's against another building, we don't really worry about that. And if it's a standalone, then at least there's light getting into the building. I'm pretty happy with the build. It started out a bit rocky, I think, but I think I've gotten there. And just to show you how it looks like, I intend to place it next to my pet shop. That's the Expert Modular Pet Shop, which I actually retrofitted as well because I put in the vet's clinic from the corner garage. So this becomes a true pet corner. We've got the pet cafe, the pet shop, the vet. We've got the vet's apartment above here, and we've got a townhouse behind it. I think everything works, and look how the buildings line up as well. And I think, look at the tiling as well. The tiling on the ground actually matches up. We've got that small checkered pattern over here. That's for the pet store. And then we have the checkered pattern here, and look at that grey tile that lines up. Almost a bit of uniformity, which is really nice, especially when you put the buildings together. I will do a separate video where I'll do a review of the entire MOC. I will also, of course, stage some minifigs just to make it interesting, so stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this journey of building a MOC from start to finish and you enjoyed the completed product. Let me know what you think about this ReMOC, as I always like to hear your feedback and comments, and I like to take in your comments before I do the final review in the event I have to make some minor adjustments. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Check out these two videos before you go.